Hello, everybody. I hope you can hear me. Good evening, and welcome to this session on mind over matter, which is essentially psychological tuning for the cat. All right. So, looks like some of our friends will need a minute or two to join. So, please bear with me for about a minute or a couple of minutes or so, and we will go live. So, please hold on. All right, folks. So we've given all our friends a couple of more minutes to join. So welcome once again, those of you who have joined and have been waiting, and those of you who have just joined, and also to those of you who will be joining. Welcome once again to this session on psychological tuning for the cat. Now, most of you would be wondering, what is psychological tuning for the cat? Psychological tuning essentially is nothing but getting in the right frame of mind so that whatever task that we do, right now we are focusing on the cat, but not just the cat. Any task that we want to achieve success in, it needs better psychological tuning, basically. So the mind needs to be in the right, be thinking in the right way. So as they call it, the right frame of mind, the right mindset is what they call it, right? So that is what is essential. So we have a task on hand. What is the task? The task is to get the best possible score in the cat. Now, how do we get the best possible score in the CAT? Now, a no-brainer. Anybody would say you prepare well, you have the right test-taking strategy, and you will do well. Yes, that is absolutely right. But is that enough? That is the question that we need to ask ourselves. Is that enough? Now, most of you may be watching sports, particularly team sports. Now, what happens? Let's take a game of cricket. What happens before the team goes out into the ground and gets ready to play? Just before they walk out, the team kind of gets into a huddle at the boundary rope, and then the captain or somebody important from the team, somebody who has achieved something, somebody who's has a record, he or she gives a pep talk to the team. Why is this pep talk needed? Is it that it is required because the players do not know what to do? They know what to do. All of they are experts. That's why they have been selected into the team in the first place, right? Regardless, this pep talk happens. Why is that pep talk required right there at the boundary rope just before they're about to start playing? Could they not have done all this strategizing before even coming to the ground, at the hotel, even before they reach the hotel? Why do they not do all that? Because the mind is like a monkey. The mind looks for an opportunity to stray. This pep talk kind of helps pull the mind from the various different directions that it is trying to run into and get it to focus. That is what is the purpose of that last minute pep talk. Right? That is the psychological tuning that the players are trying to get themselves into so that they can, as I mentioned earlier, get into the right mindset so that they can do things right. So it is not about the skill. They already have the skill, right? But to get the mind to focus and utilize the skill that they have in the right way, that requires that pep talk. That pep talk has that effect in terms of pushing the mind to look at things the way it is supposed to look at, making the mind to focus in the right direction, making the mind to focus on the right things, making the mind to focus on the things that are required to be done then and there, not something that is to be done sometime later, right? That is what is the importance of psychological. This is what we're going to discuss in today's session, which is psychological tuning for the cat. Now we need to get mind over matter, as the line up there that you can see, mind over matter, meaning there are multiple other things, matters, right, that pull our mind into different directions. So we need our mind to exercise control over all these things, and our mind should tell itself, hey, do not look at that. Look at what is the task on hand, and let's focus on that. Right. Now, that is what we will be doing in this session. Right. Thanks for joining once again. Now, before I start off with this session, I want you to tell me what your expectations are from today's session. So if you can quickly post your thoughts, questions, queries in the chat, then I'll try and answer them as I go in this session. So if you can quickly post whatever you think you would require from this session, I'll make sure that I will address those sessions, those queries in the course of this session. So I'll give you about 30 seconds to 1 minute. So please post whatever your queries are, whatever your questions, doubts, queries, whatever is bugging you, whatever you think could help you. It may be very, very individual specific, but do not be held back because of that. Go ahead and post it. We'll try and address it in as much detail as possible. Okay, I'm looking at the comments. I'm waiting for your comments, posts, queries to come in. Okay, we've got a hi, but that's not much of a query. So let's see if we can get some more queries. All right. Okay, there's one query about ABM colleges around. Okay. Okay, this is there's a query from Tejaswar Reddy, which is more of a query about ABM colleges at 90 percentile. That may not be that relevant in this session. I suggest Tejaswar, you attend the vSchool, the chats that we have in the chat session. If you post this query, you will immediately get an answer. There are multiple ABM colleges at that percentile, so you will get the response from that. Okay, there's one query from Prajwal, who says, from the last 3-4 marks, my score is decreasing. Don't know what the reason is for this. We'll try and address that definitely, Prajwal, during the course of this session. And there's one more query which says, give us the tips to calm mind during the exam. Yes, the person who posted this is beyond the mind. I will definitely address that. In fact, that is a big part of the delivery that's going to happen today, right? There are a couple of ways in which I propose to kind of address that query. We'll definitely take that up in this. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and dive into the session. Now, when we say tuning, psychological tuning, broadly, we can classify them into two kinds. What are these two kinds? These two kinds are tuning before the CAT day, which is all the run-up that is there between now and the CAT day. You may have started preparing 6 months earlier, 1 year earlier. All that preparation, which leads to the CAT day on November 30th, for those of you taking CAT 25, or next year, November, for those of you taking CAT 26, right? So all this preparation needs to be done in a kind of a tuned fashion so that you extract the most out of the preparation that you put in. So why is this important? It's important because it's a basic question of efficiency. What is efficiency? If I put in some effort, I'd like my effort to yield 100% return. That is efficiency. I would like 100% efficiency. Now, if I am not getting 100% efficiency, for example, I want to take up a topic and cover that topic in 1 hour. Normally, it is expected that a student can cover a particular topic in 1 hour, right? But because of various reasons. I will not get into the details right now, but all of you know what those reasons could be. Instead of being able to complete that in 1 hour, I complete that in 2 hours. Best case. Worst case, that 1 hour would take me a lot more than 2 hours. So the question is, how is it that I would prepare, get the most out of my preparation? That is tuning before the CAT day. How is it that we will extract the most out of our preparation, which means how to focus. Essentially, the task is, however weak a student may be, even if I am a very, very weak student, if the general expectation that even for a weak student, this topic should be covered in 4 hours, let's say, but that student is taking 8 hours, which means the student is heavily down on efficiency. What is efficiency? Is that extracting the most out of the time that we put in. Instead of putting it in 4 hours, I'm being forced to put in 8 hours. When I say I'm being forced, the biggest reason is me, right? I'll come to that when I get into details on that. Now, how is it that we will try and save time? Which means, how is it that I can get efficient? That is what we will discuss when we discuss about tuning before the CAT day. The other is tuning on the CAT day. On the CAT day, how is it that we can get into the right frame of mind? That is what we will discuss in the second part, tuning on the CAT day. Right? Now, in addition to these two kinds of tuning, there are two more kinds of tuning. What are these two? Let's look at them. One is physical tuning. Physical tuning is basically practical aspects of how you do things. Practical aspects, time-saving aspects. Aspects which will help us not only save time, but also reduce worry. Right? Time saving is the physical part, but because if we do this physical things, the worry in our mind goes down. Right? That is the physical and practical aspects of tuning. To just give you an example, right? We are preparing, and we need, let's say, a book and a paper, a pen and a paper, right? We have sat down, we have gone to the terrace with all our prep material, right? But we didn't take our pen along with us to the terrace. What is it that we need to do? We need to come down and take a pen and go back up there, or make a phone call to one of our friends or family members and tell them to bring the pen there, right? That is waste of time. So these are little physical aspects which essentially could be solved through proper planning. So how is it that we put in proper planning to take care of these physical aspects, which is why I'm calling them practical aspects? That is one kind of tuning. The other kind of tuning is psychological. Psychological essentially would mean, how is it that we think? Again, what I said earlier, having a proper mindset. Right? These are the two things. So essentially, two things initially that we looked at: tuning before the CAT. The second is tuning on the CAT day, and then physical tuning. And then physical tuning essentially is proper planning, and then psychological tuning, which is getting into the right mindset. Right? These are the things that we will be discussing. Let me give it a pause and see if we have any more comments. Okay, then we have Kush Sharma, who says VRS is my strongest section, but that is also adding to the pressure of doing well in that. Excellent. So this is what we will discuss today. Definitely strategy for 30 days. What is not fully prepared? Quant area is weak. Okay, Vishesh Agarwal, your question is more on strategy. I would encourage you to look at the strategy related videos right now. While I will very briefly touch on strategy today, because strategy is essentially a very vital part of the overall psychological aspect, but I will not be going too much into the strategy aspect today, right? But I'll try and see how I can address your query while doing that. All right. So now let's first look at on the CAT day. Right? While we will have later on sessions like last minute tips, etc., this tip now is important because it talks about how to reduce the psychological stress on the CAT day. There is some pre-preparation, pre-work that would be required. So I'm bringing it in now so that you don't need to worry about it later, right? So what is it that we need to do on CAT day, right? Point number one. Again, even on CAT day, we will look at both these kinds of tuning, because again, every tuning, whatever we do, there are physical, practical planning aspects to it, and there are mental mindset related aspects to it. So we look at both these aspects for the CAT day, right? Now, physical tuning. Now you may think, okay, you look at those points that are there in blue and you say, I reached the test well in advance before time. I know this. document check, make sure that I have all the documents. I know this. Do not carry restricted items. I know this. Ensure your washroom break. You may know this, right? The first three, in fact, the CAT guys themselves write on their admit card. They say the exam, the last window closes at, let's say, 10 o'clock. The test starts at 10:30. Let's assume for a minute, right? You can enter the test center anytime from 9:30 onwards. The gate closes at 10 o'clock, right? Now, reaching before time is a no-brainer. Reaching well in time is no-brainer actually. But we need to make sure that you need to understand. You need to understand that from wherever you are on that morning, you need to reach the test center, which means there is some activity that is involved, an activity that takes time. Now, if this activity that takes time stresses you out, then the impact of that could be there on your CAT performance, which means you need to make sure 100% that there is no stress involved in you reaching your center on the CAT day. How will you do that? You need to make sure that you reach the test center well in advance. Well in advance. So how will you make sure that you do that? You can make sure that you do that by making a trip to the center a day before to see how much time will it take. See, normally the test happens on a Sunday. In general, Sundays are low traffic days, but you never know. The road that you are going to take, there may be some function, something because of which there could be a traffic diversion. You never know, right? Which means regardless of whatever may happen on your journey from wherever you are to the test center, you should not be stressed out, which means you should have enough, you should build enough buffer to your travel to reduce the stress aspect. Now, this is a no-brainer point. You may be thinking, you may be wondering, why is this guy spending so much time on reaching the test center on time? This is because not stressing your mind at all on the test day before you sit in front of the test computer is very important, because that will then allow your mind to perform in peace and try and give its 100%. You put your mind under stress on the test day for a needless item like reaching the test center on time. You are pulling the efficiency, you are pulling the performance down. You cannot let that happen. That is very important. Second thing, document check. Making sure that you carry all the documents that are required. We have seen many people who have been sent back because they have been late. We have seen many people. We have been doing this for years and decades now, right? So believe me when I say we have seen many people who have been sent back because they were late. They have been sent back because they did not have the right documents. Who have been worried. The third point there, do not carry restricted items valuables. The admit card again clearly writes, do not carry any jewelry, right? Regardless, people come in with jewelry. These belts are also not allowed. Now what will happen? I have a very valuable belt. I'm forced to leave that belt outside. While I'm in front of my test computer, physically, my mind is thinking of my valuable belt that I've left outside the exam hall. How is that okay? Again, my mind is under needless stress, absolute needless stress. Why am I saying it is needless? Because it is needless. All of you understand why it is needless. Because your 100% presence is required for the exam there. But a part of your mind is thinking of the belt or whatever valuable that you may have left out. Restricted items, valuables, cash, wallets are not allowed. Particularly those who go alone to the exam for various reasons. Let's say the family is in a place, they are writing the test at a different place, but they go alone to the test center and they are forced to leave out some valuables or wallet or whatever outside. They're not allowed to carry that in. So your mind is on the wallet because there is money in that, there are your valuable whatever documents in that. So all this is needless. So which means you will need to plan ahead. One, to make sure that you have the right documents, and two, to make sure that there is as much as possible. I mean, it may not be possible for everybody to go to the exam center with another person, but as much as possible, try and go to the exam with another person. This person can be in charge of whatever items that you may have. Right? That way, your mind is stress-free. You've reached the test center on time, you have your document check done, and you are not worried about anything else right now. but for the CAT exam, right? And the last thing before you start the test, ensure that you have your washroom break before the test starts. Why is this important? Again, washroom breaks are at your expense. You're allowed to take a washroom break during the exam, but then the counter doesn't stop, right? So therefore, please make sure that you have this item taken care of, done and dusted, so that you can focus the complete 120 minutes on the test. Now, this is physical tuning. Now, as I said earlier, physical tuning is nothing but planning. You plan for this ahead. Make sure that you make the trip to the test center along with the other person who you're going to have along with you on the test day. So both of you do the recce, as they say. You recce the test center, make sure that you have all the documents, make sure that the documents meet the necessary requirements, do not carry restricted items, and ensure that you take your break. And then you sit in the exam. Now, once you sit in the exam, that is when there is the question of the mindset, which is where the psychological aspect kicks in. So how do we take care of the psychological aspect? Before I move to that section, let me look at some more comments. Okay, there are some comments on how to not get baffled by hard questions in quant, etc., etc. I'll try and see how I can address that. Okay, then we have on the CAT day psychological tuning. How do we tune for psychological tuning? First and foremost, do not talk to others. Why should we not talk to others? You have to understand, you're not going to the CAT center to socialize. You are going to the CAT center to give your exam. Talking to others, what will it tell you? Some comment about best case, the CAT exam, worst case, something else that has happened around the world, right? Right then and there, you are not interested. You should not be. You cannot be interested in anything that happened around the world. Right now, your focus should be completely whole and soul the CAT exam only. So therefore, all that is irrelevant, needless talk, which could only cloud your mind and reduce your efficiency, reduce your performance, right? We don't want that. Therefore, do not talk. Two, you may say, no, sir, but it could be about the CAT exam. It could be about the slot that has happened earlier. I'm in the second slot. I'm interested to know what happened in the first slot, right? Fair, okay, which is the next point. Does it mean you do not look at what happened in the earlier slots? No, absolutely no. But you don't need to talk to other people to know what happened in the first slot. For all you know, the other person who you're talking to has no clue about the exam, or even if he has, he may not have the right information because he himself may be going into the center. Or even if you are coming out, talking to somebody who's coming out of the center, the information that you get may be clouded because of his or her own performance / expectation about performance in the slot that has just happened, that he or she has just taken, right? So the information that you get, how are you sure that it is correct? Therefore, if you want information about the slots that have happened before your slot on the CAT day, come into our site. Time will do live videos and write-ups about each of the slots within half an hour, 15 minutes of that slot ending, right? So if you want information about the slot, some information, obviously we will not have access to any questions, but we can put out the broad information about how many questions, what are the broad coverage, etc., right? And the point is, you have got enough testing strategy, TTS's testing strategy inputs. You have got enough testing strategy inputs by the time you reach the CAT day. There are multiple testing strategy sessions that we have done. Your faculty at your center has done. There are multiple tips and guidances that you would have received from your faculty. You have yourself taken aimcats. You have yourself tweaked, retweaked your approach preparation by then. And there is CAT Strat that is available on your student homepage, which gives brilliant inputs in terms of how to deal with different scenarios, how to deal with different googlies, how to deal with different bouncers or surprises that the CAT may throw at you. So utilize these inputs that the CAT Strat has already. You already have those inputs with you. Utilize these inputs and move on. Get the broad information about the slot earlier, combine it with these inputs and move on. talking to others will put you under, will effectively drag your performance down. There's no way it is going to put you up, because for all you know, see, the two ways of people that you can talk to. People who are a lot more intelligent than you, or people who are lower in intelligence levels than yours, right? People who are a lot more intelligent than you, they can only intimidate you. People who are lower in intelligence levels than you, there's no use talking to them. Same with people who are at the same level of intelligence than you, right? So why talk to them at that time? That is not a preparation. That is not a time to prepare at all. Your time to prepare is already over, right? So do not talk to people, others, basically other aspirants. When I say do not talk to people, not talk to other aspirants on the day of the CAT and put yourself under needless stress. Information about the slots, you get them from our site. We will do YouTube videos, we will put up detailed documents, use that information and go on. Combine that information with the CAT SAT inputs, your TTS inputs, and go ahead and take the test. Right? That is point number one. Combining these two, your information that your preparation that you already have with your physical preparation, which we discussed in the earlier slide, and your psychological calmness, getting into the right mindset. You have prepared, you have given your 100% and you have prepared. You have made sure that you are not letting your mind pulled down by others before you enter the CAT exam. You are sitting in front of the system with a cool and calm mind, which means you have begun well. And as the line down there says, well begun is half done. Starting the test with no mental or physical worry is well begun, which means you put your best foot forward. All you need to now do is to swing the bat and hit the ball for a six. Right? That is on the CAT day. Now, there are many questions in terms of how is it that we'll do all this. Why in the run up to the CAT, we'll discuss that. While some of them, one of the query that was there is how do we have give us the tips to have a calm mind during the exam. I'll discuss that in a while, because most of that is covered in the part where we discuss the before the CAT day. Right? This is on the CAT day. Right? Then before the CAT day. Now you need to understand, why do people fail? What is the biggest killer of success? If any of you can respond to that. Okay, there's a query. What is the CAT Strat page in the portal? The CAT Strat is a tool, is an interactive tool which gives information, gives various strategy inputs in terms of how to tackle different scenarios that the CAT exam may throw at you. It is available, it is live on the student logins of all TIME students. It's a very, very helpful tool, interactive and helpful at the same time, and essential also. So please make sure that you use that if you have not used that already. Right? Now, coming back to the question, what is the biggest killer of success? The biggest success killer is fear of failure. See, India, for example, we met Australia in the final. We have not lost a single match till then. And we lost the match. We lost the final. Why did we do that? Is it because we're not capable? Absolutely not. On paper, track record wise, man to man, we are much, much stronger than the Australians. But one small error. What the error is, I will leave to the cricket pundits to debate and discuss, that cost our game. Why did it happen? Because of the immense pressure, which can also be called fear of failure. Now, when we say fear of failure, let's ask a pertinent question here. What makes us afraid? What are we afraid of? Now, somebody asked earlier, how do we keep a calm mind? Now, why is the mind not calm? The mind is not calm implies that the mind is agitated. Agitated. Why is the mind agitated? Because the mind is shaken. The mind is afraid. What is the mind afraid of? That is what we need to ask ourselves. One, I would say there are three answers to this, three possible responses to this. What makes us afraid? The doubt that we are not good enough. India facing Australia in a final. Australia multiple times world champion, right? And they have been regular monsters when it comes to ODI tournaments, ODI World Cups in particular. Are we not? Was India not good enough? Maybe it was not good enough on that day, but is it not in general good enough? No, it is not. As I said earlier, man to man, on paper, at track record wise, we are the best. But we have ended up losing the game. The doubt that we are not good enough or we may not be good enough is the biggest killer, which means lack of confidence. Now we'll address that in a moment. How is it that we'll overcome this doubt that we are not good enough? We'll address that. The other part, peer pressure, and to some extent family pressure too. Peer pressure. What is peer pressure? Hey, my friend, he has become this. My brother, he has become that. My uncle's son, he has become this. And family pressure. My family expects me to crack this. Some of us may feel that. And some of them may actually have it, right? And I'll discuss that in detail in terms of how to deal with that. This could be one reason. In terms of we being afraid, the fear of failure stems from this. Hey, my friend is doing that. If I don't do it, what will happen to me? What will I become in their eyes? In my friends group eyes? I will lose my standing, so to say, right? So that is peer pressure or family pressure. And then is essentially the non-productive activities. Now, let me spend a minute on this. What is non-productive activity? Let's say we have a target. We have a target to submit an assignment today. Some of us may be students, some of you may be students here, some of you may be working. Either if you're working, we have to submit a project. If you're studying, you have to submit an assignment, right? The deadline is 12 o'clock today, right? And there is a very important India-Australia one-day match, let's say, right? I'm sticking to the example on cricket. Now, had we delivered that assignment this morning, or had we delivered that project this morning, we would be able to view the match happily, relaxedly, right? But what would we do? We would have spent the morning doing something else, fun, frolic, relaxation, enjoyment, because we know the deadline is 12 o'clock in the night, right? Ho jayega, right? But, and then we forget about the ODI match in the morning. In the evening, suddenly we remember that there is this ODI match. Okay, we'll say, okay, chalo, the ODI match will get over by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and we still have 3 hours. We'll try and do that. So what is happening? The time that we had we started on the work at 9 o'clock in the morning, 9 to 9 plus 3 hours, we had 15 hours to deliver the project or assignment. But we have not started work on that, but instead we have let our mind have its fun, frolic enjoyment, and we have eventually given only 3 hours for the project or assignment. Now, is 3 hours enough for the project or assignment? Most likely no. It may require 4 to 6 hours. So what will happen? By 12 o'clock, we would have submitted an undercooked assignment or not really on target project. So that during the delivery, during these 3 hours, we'll be very, very afraid because we know that we are not doing our job 100%. Right? That is what makes us afraid. Now, this fear is what pulls the success down. We know that we're not going to succeed, but we still try and let our mind wander and do whatever it wants and then come and try and extract the most out of that. Our mind will flatly refuse. It says, boss, I've had my fill. I'm going to sleep now. Right? Now, how is it that we will address these 3 issues? The A, B, C that we see there, how is it that we'll address them? Let's look at those. First, the doubt that we are not good enough. Why do we even doubt ourselves? Let's see. Are we not good enough at all? What does the CAT exam require? Let's look at those percentile that are required. What is the score needed to cross 99 percentile? I have tabulated, I have looked at the data over the last 4-5 years. 99 percentile, the overall score to get 99 percentile varied from 70 to 100. Now 70 to 100 out of a total of 188 marks. 188 marks, we need 188, I'm saying 66 questions, 68 questions, it could go to 194 also. 188, 194 marks roughly. Roughly the percentile would be some 40 to 50 percentage. 40 to 50 is the percentage that is required, percentage score that is required for a person to get to 99 percentile. 40 to 50 percentage. Mind you, just hold on to this number. Now let's look at 95 percentile. What is the score required? 95 percentile is 30 to 40 percentage of the score. And what is the percentage for 90? 23 to 32 percentage. Percent, mind you, percent. Now, almost all of you here have crossed. In fact, I think I can confidently say all of you are definitely first class students. Clearly, more than 60%. And most of you would also have got more than 90%. 9 plus CGP out of 10. If you get this kind of percentages in your graduation or 10th class, you would definitely be ashamed. Even if you look at the top percentage that you see there, 53%. 53% is a percentage to be ashamed of during your graduation. Why? Because it's a second class percentage. 60% is first class. 60% is first class. 50 to 60 is second class. A second class percentage would get you 99 percentile. And 30%. What is the percent to pass? In general, it is 35%. You don't even need a pass percent. You need 30% to cross 90% percentile. 30% score gets you 90 percentile roughly. If the range is 23 to 30, I'm just taking a number 30 from that range. 30% gets you to 90 percentile. Now, when 30% is getting you to 90 percentile, which is much, much lower than a 35 pass percentage, which is a pass percentage, when most of you are 90 plus percentage students, there's no way that anybody can say that you're not good enough. So there's no way the answer for that question that you see there on the screen, are we not good enough? The answer for that is not yes. The answer is a big, big, big no. However, despite the answer for that question being no, you see that 90% of the people are not crossing 90 percentile. Obviously, that's what 90 percentile means, right? Only 10% of the people are scoring 30% and crossing 90 percentile. How is that even happening? Why is that even happening? It is happening because of the fear of failure. All of us know that we are more than 90, 95, 99 percentage students, but we are failing to cross 23, 30, 32 percentage is what we are failing to cross. 90% of us are failing to cross that. And 99% of us are failing to cross 39 to 53%. Why is that happening? Are we not good enough? No, it is not that we are not good enough. It is because we are letting the fear. One, obviously preparation strategy. I'm not even, as I said earlier, initially, I'm not going to go into how to prepare, how to utilize the right testing strategy, etc. for your exam. That is a different point altogether. I'm saying over and above that, you need to have the right preparation, you need to have the right testing strategy. And combined with these two, you need to have the right mindset. What is the right mindset? The right mindset is to think is, if I get less than 90 percentile, you need to say, this is not me. There is no way I can get less than 90 percentile. There's no way. I am not a less than 90% student. I am not a less than 30% student. I am a more than 90 percentile student, and therefore I need to make sure I behave that way. Now, how do I behave that way? Look at that. Now, how to become good enough? That is the question. How to become good enough? To become good enough, you need to follow the right testing strategy. As I said earlier, focus on the right area. Your professional test strategy. These are the two things that you need to first get right. In addition to that, there is another bigger killer of success. which is peer pressure. Your fear of not being good enough, we have addressed that. It is not that you are good enough. You are not good enough. You are good enough, definitely. But you're not doing your preparation the right way. You're not utilizing the strategies in the right way. Get these two corrected. And in addition to that, take care of some psychological aspects, which is what we cover in points B and C here. Now, what is B? Point B here is peer pressure and to some extent family pressure. What is that? Well, let's take an example. If we are running a running race with a 50 kg bag on our head, are we going to win the race? Forget the race, forget winning the race. We may not even complete the race, right? We may be down, like after taking 10 steps, we are down. They need to call the medics and they need to take us to the hospital and all, right? So there's no way we're going to succeed in that race when we have this 50 kg sack on our head. So what is this 50 kg sack that I'm referring to? That 50 kg sack is peer pressure and possibly family pressure. Basically, fear of failure. What will my friends think of me if I don't get this? What will my family think of me if I don't get this? What will my cousins, what will my relatives, what will my neighbors think of me? You need to understand our career is for ourselves. Yes, to a very large extent, it is for the family members also. No doubt in that, right? I'm going to deal with that in detail in a moment. But we need to kind of exclude them while we prepare and take the test. We need to let the mind forget the chance of failure. What will happen? Will the earth crack, or will the sky crack open and fall on us? Or will the earth crack open and swallow us? Nothing like that has happened. How many successful people in the world or in India are from IIMs, right? I mean, this is not doomsday talk, absolutely not. Essentially, to tell you that there's a lot more in the world over and above cracking the cat and getting into an IIM. That is not the only measure of success. You need to first tell your mind that, yes, going to the IIMs will increase the chances of a great career heavily, no doubt in that, absolutely no doubt. However, don't make that the single ambition objective in mind. You tell your mind that, right? It should be a single ambition till you write the CAT exam, no doubt in that. That should be your only objective, no doubt in that. However, you need to tell your mind to relax. Do not focus on what others may think about us. Focus on what we should be doing. Focus on what we are capable of, right? So the solution there is to get rid of the load, which is a 50 kg sack, which is nothing but peer pressure, family pressure. How do we do that? By making sure that we stop comparing ourselves with others. Why? Because we have our own sets of strengths, weaknesses, constraints, responsibilities. Our set is completely different from somebody else's set. Their success or failure, we cannot try and replicate on ourselves. We have our own, everyone has their own pace and their way. There are multiple ways to success. People succeed in multiple ways. Different people have different ways, right? So do not compare with anybody, your friends, relatives, cousins, sisters, brothers, anybody, right? Make your own path. That is one. Next, how to take care of family pressure, if there is family pressure, right? Now, point number one, we need to understand that we need to talk to them. But before that, you need to understand, we need to remember all the time that our biggest strength is our family. Because come what may, our family will be there to support us. You succeed, they'll be there to share the happiness. You fail, they'll be there to share the pain. They'll be there to help you. They'll hold you. They'll lift you back up. They'll make you stand up on your feet again. They'll do whatever is required to make sure that you get better, you do well. Within their constraints, obviously. Right? Some of you may think, my family can't do this, my family can't do that. No. But your family is somebody that will give in their 100%, no questions asked to you. That is what is the power of family. Right? So, if you feel that there is family pressure, that your parents expect you to do this, my brother has succeeded, now I need to succeed. My sister has succeeded, now I need to succeed. That is not how it should be. And more than 99% of the cases, that is not how your family may be thinking too. It is only you who is pulling this imaginary pressure out of the air and putting it on your head, making it that 50 kg sack. For all you know, your family may be okay. Your family would be okay, even if you don't crack it. All they want is, okay, my son, daughter, they should succeed. They should be happy. That is their end objective. That is what they want. You succeed through some other path, they're okay. You succeed through an IIM, they're okay. You succeed through the least amount of pain, effort, hard work is what they would be looking at. So therefore, it is very, very important to talk to them, make them understand what the chances of success here are, what the plan B is. So which means it's also very, very important for you to have a plan B. Okay, if this doesn't happen, then what? If IIMS doesn't happen, am I writing enough formats? Have a plan B, talk to the family, make them understand that you have a plan B. That way, your peer pressure, because you don't care, that is getting taken care of. Your family pressure, if at all there is, you're talking to them, you're talking it out with them, you're discussing it with them, you're being open about what you are, what the strengths are, what you can be, what you're going to be, what you want to be, what you like to be. You're discussing all these and therefore making sure that you have your 100% family backing. They'll catch you come what may. You fall, they're there to catch you. They will not let you fall. They'll not let you fail. Right? So that is how you get your family on your side. So get rid of your peer pressure, get rid of your family pressure. Then comes, so by doing all this, we will ensure that family remains our strength. Remember, by doing all this, what are we doing here? We are converting whatever we are thinking is the family pressure into family backing. The negative that was there a minute ago, we'll try and convert it into a positive. So the mind now has a boost. Earlier, the family pressure was weighing it down. Now the family pressure will lift it up and it will help you succeed. It will help you do better because that's a lot of weight taken off your mind, right? That is how talking to the family helps you take care of this. Then point C, non-productive activities. What are these? We kind of briefly touched upon these earlier. So I will not spend too much time on this. Essentially, non-productive activities are time pass activities. What are they? Needless chatting with friends, social media, basically everything. The keyword there in that line, mind you, is needless. You need to understand that there is a fixed deadline. 30th November is the CAT exam, which means the time remaining between now and then is fixed. So whatever you do, you need to make sure that you extract the most out of the time that you have there. So instead, many people spend time under the guise of prep. I need to go to this social media group because they're talking about the CAT. How will that social media group help you prepare on time and work? There is your material. You prepare your material. You take the test. You take the aimcats. You analyze the aimcats. How is a group discussion going to help you there? It is your individual preparation. You have a doubt, post it out to your faculty on your Telegram groups. Your faculty will respond. Now, what is happening is you post it on a general social media group, right? Where there is a lot of other chit chat. So in order to look at the solution that somebody may have posted for the query that you may have asked, you need to pass through some 50 other nonsensical things. Some stupid meme, some, sorry to say, boyfriend, girlfriend discussions also. So multiple needless things on which we spend time on to get response to that one query that we post on that group, which is a complete waste of time. So stay away from anything that kills your time. That is point number one. That is the key point basically out of this, right? Then I'm not listing any other activities here that are obvious. So basically, to sum all this up, I'm saying there are 3 points that you need to take care of. One, plan well, plan your preparation and plan your CAT day activities. Planning is the key. And obviously, along with planning, execution is the key. That kind of, it's needless to say it, but it is required sometimes to say it because some of us are experts in planning, but not so much of experts in execution. So planning and execution is the first thing. Getting rid of the fear of failure. Stop comparing with peers. Talk to family and get your family's backing, and stop wasting time. These are the three essential things that are required here. And as somebody rightly said in the group, I am now checking the messages again. Overthinking. Yeah, do not overthink. At the end of the day, what is your job? Your job is not to think. Your job is to right now prepare. Prepare, and if you want to think of a DI set, RC passage, RC questions, VA questions, whatever. Think only about whatever the CAT exam asks you. Do not think of what if I don't succeed? What if I don't get into this? What if I don't get into this? This is not the time to think of that. You give your CAT, and after your CAT, you think whatever thinking that you want to think. This is not the time, right? Do not overthink. And fear of not performing is somebody, Kush Sharma says, fear of not performing. I think we have addressed that in detail. So let me quickly go through the comments once again to see if I have missed anything. Okay. Initially, Karanam Prajwal said, from the last 3-4 marks, my score is decreasing. Don't Karanam Prajwal, what I would say is you analyze the kind of questions that you are going wrong in. And as much as possible, if possible, try and sit with your faculty to understand where is it that you may be going wrong. Obviously, nobody can definitely point out and say this is where you're going wrong. Try and understand the reason for that. See if you are, the most importantly, see if you are selecting the right kind of questions to answer. If you are not selecting the easy questions, but you are getting stuck in difficult questions, there obviously, that is the golden rule. Rule number 1 for taking the CAT exam. The right test taking strategy, rule number 1 is do not miss out on the easy questions. Start only with the easy questions and then take up questions with increasing difficulty. All right. So enough of strategy discussion there. So if you guys have, okay, one last question that I will take up, how to improve daily productivity. How to improve daily productivity. Point 1, as I discussed here, the last point that you see on your screen, reduce non-productive activities. Clear. Improve productivity by reducing non-productive activities. So basically, plan your day well, execute it well, even more importantly. All right. So with that, I will stop this session. Thank you, folks. You've been a great audience. Thank you very much. And all the best.